Good evening. I'm Rohit Sharma and welcome to Desi From DC, coming to you every night from heart of Washington. From Capitol Hill to Rice on a Hill, we connect the dots between what happens here in Washington and how it echoes back home in India. We begin tonight with the big stories of the day. Trump eyes 2025 India visit, hails PM Modi as great friend amid trade talks. Trump links tariffs to national defense, cites India-Pakistan tension. Trailblazer steps down Nancy Pelosi to retire from Congress in 2027. Ajey takes Washington by storm, special screening draws US audience. Momos, millennials and power shifts, Mamdani's first day as mayor-elect. Big development tonight on the India and US front. President Trump has just announced he will visit India next year, a move that is already shaking up diplomatic schedules and reshaping expectations around the much-awaited Quad summit. The Quad meeting, bringing together US, India, Japan, and Australia, was expected to take place in New Delhi this year, with President Trump as a key guest. But with his latest announcement, sources say the summit will now not take place as planned. The shift comes at a tense moment in the relationship. In recent weeks, President Trump slapped a 50% tariff on Indian goods, punishment he said for India's continued purchase of the Russian oil. The move surprised New Delhi and led to growing questions about how both nations will balance trade, energy, and strategy in this new phase of engagement. Interestingly, Prime Minister Modi has stayed away from major multilateral events this year, skipping forums where he might have shared the stage with President Trump, fueling speculation that New Delhi has been deliberately cautious about optics ahead of home elections. But despite the chill that followed after Operation Sindoor in the bilateral relationship, the warmth appears to be slowly returning. Just weeks ago, President Trump personally called Prime Minister Modi to wish him a happy birthday, signaling a thaw and perhaps a reset. Experts say both sides are working quietly on long-pending trade deal, with progress described as encouraging. If finalized, it could mark the first major economic breakthrough between Washington and New Delhi in years. But there's one question that still hangs over the Indo-Pacific. What happens to the Quad? It was under Trump's first administration in 2017 that the Quad was revived, presented as a coalition for free and open Indo-Pacific and strategic counterweight to China's growing assertiveness. President Biden later expanded the grouping, holding leader-level summits and broadening its focus to include everything from maritime security and climate change to STEM fellowships and infrastructure partnerships. Now with Trump returning to an America First policy, analysts say the Quad may not fit nearly into his own vision. And while the Quad seems to be on a pause, other Indo-Pacific alliances are taking place. At the recently concluded ASEAN summit, the US, Japan, Australia, and the Philippines announced a new Indo-Pacific Defense Council, another sign that the region's security framework is evolving beyond the Quad format. The goal? To push back against Beijing's growing aggression in the South China Sea. So where does this leave India? Some analysts argue that Trump's team may prioritize the Western Hemisphere in its new national defense strategy, meaning less focus on Asia, at least initially. Others believe that once the trade deal is inked, the Quad could be revived, though perhaps with less fanfare and less strategic weight than before. For now, the picture is mixed. Tariffs on one hand, phone calls and trade talks on the other. But Trump's upcoming visit to India could once again reset the tone of one of the world's most consequential relationships. The big question, will it be trade first or the start of a new Indo-Pacific realignment? We'll be watching closely. Donald Trump this time linking tariffs to national defense and even throwing India and Pakistan into the mix. Speaking to reporters at the White House, US President said his controversial tariff policy is not just about trade or money, but about security. In Trump's words, tariffs are for defense. He said that countries relying too heavily on imports could be vulnerable during wars, and he cited the example of India and Pakistan, saying nations must protect their own industries the same way they protect their borders. It's classic Trump, mixing economics with geopolitics. But this time, his comments come at a sensitive moment. The US Supreme Court is still weighing whether Trump's sweeping use of tariffs under emergency power was even legal. And in that backdrop, Trump is doubling down, calling tariffs a powerful weapon that keeps America safe and strong. But that's not all. Trump also spoke about India. He said his trade talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi are, quote, going good, adding that India has largely stopped buying oil from Russia. He called PM Modi a great man, a friend, and revealed that Modi has invited him to visit India maybe next year. Now, we do not know yet if that visit will happen, but if it does, it will be Trump's first trip back to India since that massive Namaste Trump rally in Ahmedabad in 2020. Remember that sea of people, the roar, the optics? So what's happening there? On one hand, Trump is pushing tariffs as tools of American strength, and on the other, he's softening his tone with allies like India. Experts say that it's part of broader play. Trump 2.0 wants to look tough on trade, but appear friendly with friends. For India, it means walking a tightrope, balancing Washington's expectation with its own strategic independence. For Trump, it is all about the message. Tariffs mean defense, trade means dominance, and when it comes to India, Modi means momentum.
And when
Going good. He stopped buying oil from Russia.
When do you plan?
And he's a friend of mine, and we speak, and he wants me to go there, and we'll figure that out. I'll go. I had a great trip there with Prime Minister Modi. He's a great man, and I'll be going. Yeah.
And joining us now is the man himself, Shantanu Ji, who is joining us in Washington, DC today. And the film Ajey is written or inspired, I should say, from the book that he's written on Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath of Uttar Pradesh. So tell us more about the idea to bring this film to America. I mean, to take it abroad. You're going to UK after this. You've sort of getting feelers from other nations too. Yeah. So why America and why Washington, DC?
Ankur Bhai, Rohit Bhai, I wrote in 2017 the book, The Monk Who Became Chief Minister. The book became instant hit. It went to all the literature festival, and then I started getting calls from the Harvards and Oxfords and US of the world. And later in a couple of years, I did a search in the WordCat where you can find which library. I realized my book is there in US Official Congress Library.
Nice.
It's in Oxford, it's in Stanford, it's in Cambridge, it's in like 80 libraries across the world. So, and then we started talking that can it come on a big canvas. In 2022, I came with the second book, The Monk Who Transformed Uttar Pradesh. I did a 13-city tour of US. And that time, I got invested. So my producer is from California. He's an Indian guy, he's an NRI. And he invested in the movie. And then my like 7-8 inch, 130-page book converted into a 2 hours, 20 minutes movie. And as soon as the movie became quite a hit, got quite amazing reviews. Let's say Vijayendra Prasad, who has written story for RRR and Bahubali, father of Rajamouli, you know what did he say when he saw the movie in Hyderabad? Then I'm feeling jealous of these boys. I could not have written a better script. My God, that's like a Indian Oscar for me. And we started getting feelers from a lot of people in US, Indian community, the people who organize my shows, my book tour, that okay, the movie is not playing in many theaters. So I thought I'll go and watch with a lot of community leaders. And I think this 10 days, almost 2,000 people will watch the movie. Very important people of Indian community, temple heads, and other community leaders will watch the movie. And then now the other screenings have also started happening without me. And I'm talking to them on Zoom and bringing actors on Zoom. I think this is a very different kind of movie which is getting popular by screenings. There are more than 100 screenings of the movie that happened. Commercially, it did what it did, but it is doing amazing by the screenings.
What's your biggest takeaway from the film?
My biggest takeaway from the film is that it's strength is unity, and together with our people and our community here, and in India and Bharat, and together, as I can say, Jai Shri Ram, I think it's Hindus are stronger together.
And your views about Yogi Adityanath ji? I mean, what do you think future holds for him?
Look, he's if I've learned anything from this movie itself, Anything is possible. And he battled the mafia in UP, and I've been going to UP. I'm from UP since I was a boy. I've seen myself how the culture has changed there, how it's become a safer, cleaner atmosphere. And he's a yogi who's a corrupt government, and now he's taken it over. And with Modi ji, and his future is bright. I think he can pull it off. He can become the next Prime Minister of India.
How did you find the film?
Oh, it was thrilling. It was extremely inspiring. I've always read about Yogi ji, but it's always nice to see it in action. So really, really enjoyed the movie. I wish I would have brought my kids. It's always nice to see where the focus is on politics in this era. Politics is for serving people, so this movie really reiterated that.
And for the full interview, you can log on to India Today Global's YouTube channel. The US government shutdown has now hit day 36, the longest in American history. And the impact is getting harder by the day. Across the country, flights are being cancelled as air traffic controllers stop showing up for work. 41 million Americans have lost access to food assistance. Federal workers like single mother Stephanie Rogers are being forced to choose between paying bills and putting food on the table. Economists estimate the shutdown has already cost $14 billion in permanent economic damage. And with no deal in sight, the crisis is only deepening. Here's a report by Debangna Datta.
"36 days. That's how long the United States government has been shut down. It's now officially the longest and most damaging shutdown in American history. But this time, something is different. This isn't just about delayed services or closed museums. This is about a president caught between his words and his actions. President Donald Trump has publicly acknowledged the damage.
Countless public servants are now not being paid, and the air traffic control system is under increasing strain. We must get the government back open soon, and really immediately. We have to get it up. We have the hottest economy we've ever had, and it's affecting the stock market now a little bit.
That's a dramatic break from every shutdown before this one. And now the consequences are cascading. On Wednesday, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy ordered a 10% cut in flights at 40 major U.S. airports. Why? Because 13,000 air traffic controllers have been working without pay for over a month. 20 to 40% of them aren't even showing up anymore.
There'll be frustration. We are working with the airlines. They're going to work with passengers. But in the end, our sole role is to make sure that we keep this airspace as safe as possible. The administrator is going to talk about all of the tools we're going to deploy. One of them, though, is going to be that there is going to be a 10% reduction in capacity at 40 of our locations.
Over 3 million travelers have already been affected. Airlines are scrambling to cancel flights, and the message from the administration: this is pressure, deliberate pressure, to force Democrats to cave. But behind these numbers are real people. People like Stephanie Rogers. She's a microbiologist at the FDA in Colorado. A single mother of 2, and she hasn't been paid since October 1st.
I can't pay my bills. I don't know how to balance my bills because how long are we going to go determines how long my money will last.
She's rationing food, raiding her retirement savings. Her unemployment claim was denied due to a coding error. And she's one of 1.4 million federal employees in this exact situation. 41 million Americans have lost their food stamp benefits. Economic data has gone dark. The government can't even release the monthly jobs report. Goldman Sachs estimates this shutdown will cost the US economy up to $14 billion in permanent losses. And still no end in sight. This isn't just a government shutdown anymore. It's a test of how much pain Americans can endure before someone blinks. With Debangna Datta, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
After nearly 4 decades in Congress, Nancy Pelosi is calling it quits. The 85-year-old trailblazer, who became America's first female speaker, redefined political power and outlasted presidents, rivals, and rebellions within her own party. From passing Obamacare to taking on Trump twice, Pelosi leaves a legacy of grit, strategy, and controversy. Love her or loathe her, Washington's power map just changed forever.
After nearly 4 decades in Congress, Nancy Pelosi is hanging up her gavel. The 85-year-old Democratic powerhouse announced today she will not seek re-election, closing the chapter on one of the most influential and polarizing political careers in American history.
For decades, I've cherished the privilege of representing our magnificent city in the United States Congress. We can be proud of what we have accomplished, but there's always much more work to be done. That is why I want you, my fellow San Franciscans, to be the first to know. I will not be seeking re-election to Congress. Thank you, San Francisco, for trusting me to be your voice in Congress. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.
Let's be clear, love her or hate her, Pelosi changed the game. She shattered the ultimate glass ceiling in 2007, becoming the first woman Speaker of the House. But she did not just make history, she mastered power. Under her leadership, Democrats passed the Affordable Care Act, reshaping American healthcare. She helped steer major climate and infrastructure bills through Congress and kept her caucus remarkably united through the Obama and Biden years. And then Donald Trump. Their rivalry defined an era. Remember that viral moment when she tore up his State of the Union speech on live TV? She impeached him not once but twice. First over the Ukraine scandal, then after the January 6th Capitol attack. Though the Senate acquitted him both times, Pelosi made sure his actions were written into record. To Republicans, she became a symbol of everything they opposed. Mocked in campaign ads, vilified on talk shows, even targeted in violent rhetoric. But Pelosi's critics weren't just across the aisle. In recent years, frustration grew inside her own party. Progressives, led by figures like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and members of the Squad, often clashed with her over issues like climate policy, Gaza, and corporate influence. They argued that Pelosi represented the old guard of Democratic politics, too cautious and too tied to big donors. Her eventual ouster as Speaker in 2023, following internal dissent and shifting party dynamics, marked the end of an era. Many saw it as progressive movement's first major flex of power within the Democratic establishment. And today, as she bows out of Congress entirely, even her fiercest critics acknowledge her skill. Pelosi was, by any measure, one of the most effective legislative tacticians in modern American politics. Someone who could count votes, cut deals, and keep a deeply divided caucus in line. Still, the politics remain as sharp as ever. Hours after her announcement, Donald Trump did not hold back.
I think she's an able woman. I'm glad she's retiring. I think she did the country a great service by retiring. I think she was a tremendous liability for the country. I thought she was an evil woman who did a poor job, who cost the country a lot in damages and in reputation. I thought she was terrible. Thank you very much.
Classic Trump. No olive branch, no nod to history, just raw contempt for his longtime rival. As Pelosi steps away, she told her San Francisco constituents to, quote, know your power. What that means for the Democratic Party, especially as it wrestles between establishment control and a surging progressive base, remains to be seen. One thing's certain, Washington will not look the same without Nancy Pelosi. With Debagna Datta, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
And before leaving, take a look at a lunch with meaning and dash of spice, as New York's Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani met Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on his first day at a cozy Nepalese bistro in Queens. Over momos and chili chicken, they talked generational change, a soft power lunch shaping America's progressive future.
So, what does New York City's youngest mayoral-elect do on his first official day in power? Forget the stuffy boardroom meetings or power lunch salads. Zohran Mamdani kicked off his historic tenure the way any true New Yorker would, with chai and momos. That's right, the 34-year-old democratic socialist who just made history as New York City's first Muslim and first South Asian mayor celebrated with dumplings and spiced tea. And he wasn't dining alone. Mamdani posted pictures from his lunch at La Ligura's Bistro in Jackson Heights, a beloved Nepalese and Bhutanese eatery in Queens. His guest, none other than Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, one of the few Democrats who endorsed him from the start. The spread? Steaming momos, aloo dum, paneer tikka with bao, and of course, chai. It's an ode to his South Asian heritage and a refreshing break from typical political optics. Now, this might seem casual, but it's actually perfectly on brand, because Mamdani has not just won an election, he's already transforming New York's food scene. Before he was a politician, he was a rapper who went by Mr. Cardamom. He filmed a music video with culinary legend Madhur Jaffrey in a kebab house in Queens. And during his mayoral campaign, he organized a city-wide scavenger hunt that ended at his favorite Middle Eastern cafe. He campaigned at bodegas in the Bronx. He took politicians to Afghan eateries in Astoria. His favorite spot? Kebab King, a 24-hour restaurant in Jackson Heights that he has been visiting since high school. He gets the biryani and finishes with pan every single time. Compare that to his predecessor, Eric Adams, who was regularly spotted at flashy club-style restaurants like Casa Cipriani and Zero Bond. As Melissa McCart, editor of Eater New York, puts it, he's the underdog shining a light on underdog restaurants. He's going to the outer boroughs, while Adams is at private membership clubs. And it's working. After Mamdani named his top 3 New York City meals in a viral interview with The New Yorker, the restaurants he mentioned, Kebab King, Ziara and Pie Boat Noodle, saw immediate boosts in business. We saw more customers right away, confirmed the owners of Pie Boat Noodle, a Thai street food spot in Astoria. But Mamdani's food love is not just Instagram-worthy content, it's policy. He's promised to end what he calls halalflation, the skyrocketing prices of halal cart food caused by a broken permit system. Right now, vendors pay up to $20,000 a year on the black market just for the right to sell chicken over rice. Mamdani wants to expand permits and bring those prices back down. Mamdani has never tried to hide who he is. In fact, he's doubled down on it. His victory speech quoted Jawaharlal Nehru's famous Tryst with Destiny address. He walked off stage to the Bollywood hit Dhoom, and he told supporters, "I am young, I'm Muslim, I'm a democratic socialist, and most damning of all, I refuse to apologize for any of this." It's a stark contrast to how some South Asian politicians have handled their identity. Nikki Haley and Bobby Jindal both emphasized their conversions to Christianity. But Mamdani, he's leading with his heritage. So what's next for New York's new leader? Mamdani won on a bold agenda focused on affordability and tackling wealth inequality. He's promised to make housing more accessible, expand free bus service, and push back against corporate interests. His transition team is already meeting with community organizers, labor unions, and progressive lawmakers. Progressive strategist Elena Leopold will head Mamdani's transition as executive director. She'll be joined by an impressive team of all-female co-chairs: former Deputy Mayor Maria Torres Springer, ex-FTC Chair Lina Khan, non-profit leader Grace Bonilla, and city budget expert Melanie Hartzog, all bringing deep experience in shaping New York's policy future. But if day one is any indication, expect a mayor who governs like he campaigns, unapologetically himself, rooted in community, and always making time for good food with good people. New York just got a whole lot more interesting and a whole lot more delicious. With Debangna Datta, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
And that wraps up tonight's edition of Desi from DC. This is Rohit Sharma for India Today Global. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button before you leave. Stay tuned, stay informed, and as always, stay curious.